What's up, guys? I am here with Alberto. Alberto, are we going to start the Skyline today? Is that the goal? Are we going to try?
That is our absolute goal today. Let's try our hardest to get it started today.
No matter what, guys, even if we have to put the SR20 in it just to start it, we will do whatever it takes. All right, so checking in, Alberto stopped by for a little bit while I was at the track shredding and started running the harness and everything. Really pumped on how clean he got all the injector plugs looking. He had to put new pigtails on and he kind of tucked them underneath the manifold. Also another really cool thing.
The whole harness is installed, and then the coil parts, you can't even see them because you have the lid here, but all you can see wire and plug, little pigtail here, and this plug that you can't do anything about it because it has to go through there, but everything else is hidden.
I'll clean this up too and I'll make this look even nicer. If you guys notice here, we got some fancy looking coil pack bracketry going on here. This is actually from a friend of mine in Connecticut who goes by Thorn Industries. So it comes with a carbon fiber plate and then OEM LS coil packs that he cleans, tests, and then shields. And it comes with all the washers and the nice little plates for everything to just bolt up. So then all we have to do is get some pigtails for the LS coil packs. And it looks rad, even though there's gonna be a cover over this, just knowing that we got the sweet carbon fiber in there looks pretty sweet. Right here is before with all this crusty electrical tape, and now we have after, all clean and nice. I went ahead and did the old trick where you drill some holes underneath the fender so I could get the harness tucked up there. That way we're not worrying about any rubbing issues if it were running right here. So that's all tucked up in there. I also went ahead and rewrapped the harness here where it was a little bit worn, just so it's nice and protected. That way in here we won't have any issues with shorts or anything like that. Alberto is currently wiring the new plugs for the coil packs. Solder than shrink wrap?
Yes. So pretty much all look like these. Get in there.
Had to order some wiring stuff since we're gonna be relocating the battery to the trunk. So I'm gonna start figuring out how I'm gonna run this wire through the car. I got the battery run through the car, and in the meantime, Alberto got the oil filter relocation all mounted up. Look how nice and easy it is to access now. So it'll be really easy to be changing the oil on this thing. Just gotta run 2 lines now to the oil cooler, which is located right here. Nice, decent amount of airflow. Obviously it's not permanently mounted. The one thing I am slightly concerned about with this, I get sketched out with oil coolers, especially being anywhere in front of the bash bar area, because it is easy to hit them and you know, you lose oil, engine goes boom. So with the oil cooler mounted here, I'm gonna have to be very conscious if I tap anyone in this area to make sure that I'm not leaking oil, pull off track, and double check it rather than just sending it. So I will have an oil pressure gauge, and I'd assume that I would notice if I lost a large amount of oil. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look at that.
You'll definitely spray the truck too.
Yeah. The way that it is mounted too, it is actually recessed behind the bash bar, so that's a good thing. It just is obviously the lowest point, so that's what concerns me. This gives you a little bit better idea what I mean by being recessed behind the bash bar.
I was showing Adam that I did aluminum brackets, and I only did the tops. It's really sturdy, so I got 2 bolts, and 1 bolt over here straight to the stock metal piece on the bash bar. It's very sturdy, but if it actually hits, it will flex the whole thing, so literally like fold back kind of thing, potentially saving the oil cooler from actually ripping apart in case it hits somebody. So it's just basically just like bend it back or just rid of the bracket.
I feel like it would also be a smart thing for me to keep like maybe a spare piece of line in case I bend any of the bracketry or something at the track. That way I could always just loop it and not run an oil cooler. You know what I mean? So like make a piece of line with 2 90-degree -10 fittings that I could literally just plug right up if I ever lose this.
Yeah, and a spare cooler.
Yeah, but the brackets are gonna be what's hard to make at the track. I need to capture the most satisfying moment of the trunk-mounted battery conversion. No turning back now. Look at that.
Wait, there's one.
To make the power wire more pretty, we're using some of this decorative heat shrink that one of you guys sent me. I've been using all that stuff so often. It's gonna make it look so much nicer and having that red, ugly cable. Look at that, just hit it with some heat. Look at how professional that looks. It looks like we're experts at this. Oh my God. Wow, wiring specialties got nothing on us. Ironically, we're actually using one of their grounding kits on the RB. Look. Just like the big boys. You guys know what time it is. Come on, I don't want to have to take out the door panels. Now that's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, real nice. The coolest thing is that these Gannon doors are literally plug and play for the Skyline. All this gooey, icky goo is so gross. We're about to put oil in, that's exciting. Now listen here, Mr. RB, you're gonna take this oil and you're not gonna keep it all in your head, okay? You're gonna let it get everywhere else. Don't be selfish. Thank you. All right, Alberto, what's going on back here?
I'm doing some wiring stuff.
Why are you all smirky?
Because I have a lot of things here in the truck. But this pretty much are gonna be the harness for the fuel pumps. I'm putting it really over here next to the factory fuel pump relay, which is already been modified. I didn't do this, it was already like this. So I'm cutting off the signal wire. I'm gonna run the signal wire from the ECU because for some reason on this car, the fuel pump just stays on all the time. But we want it to run with the computer, so I'm gonna run it with the signal wire with the computer. Our fuel pumps, primary fuel pump will run. It will run from the stock relay, which is right here, this little green thingy. And then I'm just gonna run now the power wire from the fuse link thingy to the battery.
Alberto, you are a man of many tricks. Are you about to do what I think you're about to do? Would you look at that? He's twisting the wire. So you ran wires, but we didn't know what kind of went to what. So what I did back here, I held a little thing that basically grounded the wires. And then over there, Alberto was figuring out with the power probe, trying to figure out which one's grounded, which one's not. So we were able to figure out which wires are which, get them into the ECU, which, as I showed you before, is actually just a nice little like plug and play unit. It's got an adapter right here that'll plug right into the stock harness here. And then we should be good to fire up. Car's power right now, so I've been testing things like, look. And I found that for whatever reason, the left turn signal right now is connected to the AC fan. So I probably plugged in the wrong wire to that. So I'm gonna take care of that now. So Alberto doesn't even have to disconnect this because I'm guessing you can just do that in the software. Yeah. And that way we can turn the engine over a couple times to prime it before we fire her up.
You hear your fuel pumps? Look.
Cool looking angle of the engine bay.
Alright, crank number 1. This is fuel oil crank.
Look at that turbo spinning.
It sounds so fun. The turbo spinning?
Yeah, it was literally spinning while you're cranking it.
It hasn't even started.
Yeah.
That's like with the Garrett turbo. So look at that spool already without even
spool on startup.
The level? See
Yeah.
it went down a little bit?
Yeah, because the oil cooler is probably filling up.
Oh, one good thing. Take that oil cap off and so you see oil getting on the can. Can you see it? Can you see the can with that mouth?
I mean,
yes.
I definitely feel oil on my finger.
Well, yeah, when you
Oh, duh, yeah, I poured it in there.
But see if you see any oil moving there, like at all, or anything.
All right, this is the moment we've all been patiently waiting for. The moment of truth. Let me put the, the oil cap on. All right. This is where the fun begins. Alberto had to do a little bit of tweaking with the wiring for the trigger signal, but I think we're about ready to give it a shot now to start it. You think it'll start?
Possibly, probably. I don't know if it'll idle, but now I connected the fuel back up. Let's see if this works. Oh my god, please don't blow up.
Well, shut it. Don't say that. Alberto, should I open the garage door? You're scaring me. Why you're freaking me out, dude? And the mad scientist goes back to his computer. Should we add a little more fuel? We don't have the fuel pressure gauge. We don't have the fuel pressure sender like hooked up yet, so we just kind of increased a little bit. You gonna start it with the throttle body open? Yeah, I did a little bit more fuel this time on the computer instead. We couldn't control the throttle since we didn't have the right plug for the TPS, and Alberto conveniently found that since we don't have the right plug for this, we can actually use the one for the factory O2 sensor that I had dangling here anyway. So we should be okay. He's just gonna have to splice this in and then we should be able to control throttle and hopefully get it running. What's going on right now? Where are we at?
Trying to set up the timing. So I don't remember exactly how to do it, but I just got on the phone with a friend of mine all the way from Canada, Mr. Daniel from Post Haste Performance, and he helped me turn on my car and do the base tune and everything to get my E36 to where it is right now. And then after that, then I took it to Martin to fine tune it. But now we're stuck with this, so the only person who actually can help us is this guy, and he's about to get on TeamViewer in a little bit and actually gonna remote tune the car all the way from Canada.
What's pretty cool about the standalone thing as well, I know we really haven't mentioned it, but like troubleshooting everything, we can literally go on the computer and we can see what sensors are giving feedback. We can actually like program them, like Alberto just programmed the TPS and actually was able to set the values for it.
Well, that took a little bit, but I actually did it because the Nissan TPS on that thing works backwards. Instead of 0 to 5 volts, it works like 5 to 0 volts, which actually ended up being 4.7 or something. What was it? No, 4.4 to 0.9 volts or something to get it to work right.
It's just cool like how like detailed you can get with actual standalone, and I know that if we had a stock ECU, we'd be probably pulling our hair out right now trying to figure out how to get this thing to start. So I'm very excited.
So I crank it? Yeah. Okay, going for it.
Almost.
Almost stayed running. I'll give it a little bit of gas if anything.
You don't have vacuum to that port.
It won't stay on.
It's running. Kinda.
Oh, now he died.
The throttle body, it was going like this. Was that you?
Yeah.
Okay. So close. We were so close, and everything in me wanted to start it up tonight. Lee and his tuner Chris, I was just on the phone with them from Monsta, they were actually willing to drive out here and they were gonna help us go through it and try to get it running. But I think since it's getting pretty late and we're at a very bad spot right now, it might be best to kind of sit on this and wait till tomorrow when we can get some advice from other people. Because right now we pulled off the oil feed line on the turbo and it's not seeing oil, which is very odd, especially with how much we've been cranking it. And then to kind of follow up on that thought process, Alberto pulled off the oil filter and there's no oil in it. So we're hoping that
What we want to do right now is to remove the AC compressor to access the service port on the oil pump and see if there's oil there, because like, where's the oil going?
So it's possible that we don't have any oil pressure right now, and Alberto was having a hard time turning it over when we were checking timing. So there's a possibility that this RB already has oiling issues before we even started it. Let's just hope that nothing's damaged. Definitely not the video that I wanted to upload today. I actually wound up skipping uploading a video because I wanted to have the clip of us starting it at the end of the video, so that's why there wasn't a video yesterday, and now there's this very sad one. But hopefully by the time you're watching this video, we already have it running and figured out. But stay tuned, fingers crossed. I'll see you guys tomorrow.